Karen.
Right, good afternoon, Richard. Thank you for joining me for afternoon tea.
Good to see you.
My first question to you is, what was your childhood like?
Well, I was a happy child actually. I was in Hall Green, although it was the probably technically Spark Hill when I was a child. So it was a because I was over at the end of Sarehole Mill side of Hall Green. Yeah, it was dragged up, but it was single parent family. I met my dad when I was 17, so I had an unusual start, I think. But I was happy. I was happy.
Not that unusual, mate. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, it's a life in Birmingham story. That's what,
Yeah. So, did you enjoy school?
I did actually. I did well in the exams. I didn't do any work towards them. I enjoyed the sciences and the Englishes, I think I got on well despite school. Actually, I think I was good. I enjoyed school, but I enjoyed the company of school.
Was yours a all boys school or was it a mixed
It
comprehensive?
was a mixed Hall Green school actually.
Oh yeah, I can probably imagine why you enjoyed school more than
it was all right actually. I did enjoy it. I'll jump past that.
So, did you have any problems at school?
I did get suspended once actually.
Oh, yeah.
So I was suspended for fighting, but I actually defended a kid who was being bullied, and there was a couple of gangs in school, and they turned on me basically. But the school suspended me because they would not admit they had gang problems. But it never went on my record, so I got just an extra bit of holiday because it was just onto the summer holidays. But they both got suspended, and they never spoke about it.
how? I mean, without giving away your age, Richard. I mean, what kind of time span are we talking about here?
That was that was back in the 90s, I guess. So it's
isn't it strange how bullying problem then school are like, oh no, bullying problem now, schools are still like, oh no. It's almost like they don't want to acknowledge
that school, because it was in between. The Nine Stars was a tough school at that time. I think it's got better nowadays, but it was between Nine Stars, Yardley. I can't remember what the other school was, but they used to meet in the middle. So we had quite a gangy school at that place. I was never part of all that, but because I was quite a big kid actually, so I played rugby and stuff, so I was quite safe. But then I put my head above the parapet at the wrong time, if you know what I mean.
I was always doing that to defend the weak and innocent. It's really funny. You've got a thick lip in there, off eating sweets, and you're like, what?
Anyway. I would wind up the gang kids a lot, and I used to think I was clever enough to get away with it, and that one time I didn't. It's probably the answer.
So what did your mum say about you being suspended? Was she annoyed with you, or
because she was called into school? To be honest, the teachers acknowledged the problem in school, but then they wouldn't officially acknowledge it. That was the thing.
I hate that.
It was one of those times. So to be honest, it was just they even spoke about it being added to the holiday in that effect, but it looked like we were both suspended from the effects of doing it. But all in all, do you know what time? I think times have changed a bit from that. I hope they have. Is probably the answer. Yeah. But I think people do acknowledge the bullying side more. But
I don't know so much, because if you think back in the media, most certainly over the last since the rise of social media, I actually think it's bloody worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's a different type of.
Kids can't escape.
No, it's right at home now, isn't it?
They go home, they turn on the computer, it's bing. They go on their phone, it's bing. Someone takes a photo, puts their head on the goat or whatever, shares it around, bing, they become the laughing stock.
Well, but bullying is a million forms, and in all honesty, it was physical. That was how I saw it in them days. But it could be worse, couldn't it?
You could deal with it as well. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, okay, then let's see who gets a bloody nose first.
I was a rubbish fighter, though, hence why I came off worse, actually.
Sorry, Karen.
Have you got any siblings?
I have. I've got a brother, a guy called Gordon, who is currently living in Solihull, and he works for Empower, and he's a project officer. So he's the brains of the family. So
Ah.
he studied environmental pollution control, I think it was, and he's now a scientist in an electric company. So
Yeah.
Even his name sounds like he's bloody Gordon Fraser. You say
ah,
that's you say
that's a
that's
good.
you know
That's
you
a
say,
good. I got off quite lucky actually because my family have got Scottish background, so Gordon's a good Scottish name. Richard's also a Scottish name. I almost
yeah.
became Stuart apparently, but
It's a strong name. That's a great name, Gordon Fraser. You almost have to stop and like, oh, is
yeah,
it?
it was good. Apart from when we were kids, Gordon the Gopher had become quite famous.
Yeah. So was he older or younger than you?
He's 2 years older than me, so
2 years older. Yeah.
yeah, he's we were quite competitive though because we both started playing American football back in the day, and it got us both to quite a good level because I played for Team Europe. He got into the Great Britain squads and stuff. And,
Wow.
I've changed shape since then. It's kind of same weight but dropped to stomach now.
I thought you had to have a bit of weight playing American football.
Actually, do you know what? You've got to carry it in different places to where I am, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So did you go to university or further education?
Later than probably no. I went to I went and did law with business at Aston Uni for a while, but I had to drop out because obviously, well, as I said, for single parent family in the background, I couldn't afford law school, couldn't afford to get to the end of the uni, so I took on my sandwich year. I went to Cowie Interleasing, which is part of General Motors, and I basically went into the car industry. I'm halfway through my university degree, basically. So that didn't look back though. To be honest, it would have been nice to finish it, but I can't see. It was probably a wrong move in hindsight going into law. I got the grades, but I wasn't. It's not. It's not me now.
Your passion.
Yeah, different doors opened.
That's it. So your first job was with the automotive trade, was it?
Yes, it was. I was just a client services rep at that time. It's about as bottom wage as you can get in my industry, and I was dealing with hundreds of disgruntled drivers in probably a very bad service industry at the time. It's got better. It's got better.
They've had to, haven't they? I mean, the competition is like killing them. So
exactly, I've got to be. I remember the first day being in the job, literally sitting on a telephone call with a complaint customer, not having any training. So I know it was bad, and I was trying to answer technical questions without a single, and even knowing how to press the buttons on the screen, if you know.
Where did you say you worked again? I'm sure I had a job there.
Yeah. I got better.
So when did you go self-employed? Was that straight away after that, or did you?
20 years working for banks and finance houses, and it was only just over 18 months ago I went self-employed. So started. The first sign of self-employment was starting Bob Droitwich in end of 2017. So it's quite recent, really.
So you started Bob before you did the finance friend and
yes, I was working. Vehicles. When I started Bob, I was working for Haydock Finance, which is an excellent finance house based in based up north, basically. So
in Haydock, in Haydock by any chance?
It's north of Haydock, but it's surprisingly not linked to it. But actually, they're about 20 miles north of it. So I'm guessing it got somewhere in the name. But So yeah, it's a good experience. I've always worked for the people, but I learned how to run a business from being in Bob Clubs. Actually, that's probably the main, because everyone else is self-employed. You get an education basically.
Yeah.
So when did you set up My Finance Friend?
Your finance friend, but I set that up. A year later, in 2018, with my co-partner, which is Patrick O'Gorman, who's basically probably doing it while we're actually on this interview.
Yeah.
But he's it was that was basically I made it. It was the first decision. I think Bob Clubs was a hobby actually initially, but your finance friend was, we can, I do not need to work for someone else's. I can see a path. So it was probably my first venture out to be independent in that sense. So it was so that was the conscious decision. Bob Clubs was an additional income. So,
and then you also set up the car.
Yes.
Hire
a few weeks ago,
company, isn't it? You can lease cars off you.
That's right. Planet Leasing Greater West Midlands has emerged in conjunction with Planet Leasing Limited, who sell about 4,000 cars a year down in London. We are the Midlands version of them. But the reason we've done that is your finance friend did do cars on contract hire. It's more of a consultancy. So we needed a channel where we can market it better. And we needed direct marketing, and we needed to be able to do advertising. And it was too aggressive a sale for a consultancy. So although we were doing well, we needed to clarify it. So we've taken our hideous orange and we've turned to bilious green. I would say the colour schemes are.
I'm on there at the moment, actually, because when I went on to your finance friend, I looked at electric vehicles and there was nothing there, so I clicked on something else.
We just the website has just been reformed and built today, actually. So we've got a loading to do, basically. So it's because we've added the Planet Leasing division to it, we had to rebuild the front page. So it's what we're trying to do with the website now is to make it direct to action buttons. So it's so there's no doubt where we want everyone to go, because it was a little bit more like a blog originally, but what we needed was was essentially, because there's multiple channels in the business, so we needed people to know they're going for asset finance, know they're going for vehicle finance, and so it's gone through a few stages, and I think we're there now. So if you look tomorrow, there will be luxury cars on there, and there will be prestige and supercars are going on there by tomorrow. So
good stuff.
And it's true that if people want to get a car off you, they can go and look around a garage, find their car.
Yes, they can.
And they come to you to see if you can get a better deal. Is that?
The answer is yes, but what we would always say is we are here to advise. If you want a vehicle of any type, talk to us, because we might not be the right product for you, but we will certainly help you. Now we have all the funders in the market, and we have in the contract hire market, and we can do asset finance, and we can do all manner of funding. But we make sure you know your contracts, they adapt with your business, and you'll get to see us regularly because we tend to deal with local businesses as well. So but the key is know what you want and know what you're getting, basically. And you might not need it now. And we spend a lot of our time nowadays, especially in COVID, reducing the size of fleets and finding alternative transport, because we're consultants. So is it the right thing to have a vehicle at all sometimes? And that's, so at the end of the day, it helps. We do well telling you the right information. So don't think if I've told you to get a train pass, it might not be because I don't want to give you a car. It's actually because you need alternative transport.
and people appreciate that. I mean, at the end of the day, and this is the thing: if it's not about the sale, it's about the education, then the sale will follow anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if Joe Bloggs doesn't buy off you, the experience that you've given him he'll then take that away with him. Someone asked him about a car. Oh, bloody hell, I spoke to this fantastic guy, Richard, Gordon Frazer's brother. Oh, Gordon Frazer. Yeah, Gordon. Yeah, speak to him. But I imagine that's how you've had business in the past. Anyway.
Yeah, but do you know what the key to it, because we tend to nowadays we're approaching 30+ vehicle fleets on the whole, and so they tend to have too many vehicles because they don't know all the vehicles they've got.
They don't know what they've got.
Yeah, so have some pool fleet, have some daily rental, have some contract hire, own a few vehicles, blend it all together, then you'll find the better package. We'll manage it all. We'll take the headaches off your desk, and we'll handle the fines and the parking things and your drivers who have arguments with people on the street sometime. And
what are you making kind of regular contact then with large distributors who may have a large sales team? So, for example, my wife she's been in the bathroom industry. She's not in it now, but I think every company she's worked for, they've had like 3 or 4 cars just lying around.
Yep.
Like, oh, use that one. Is it lease? Oh, it's lease. And then she'll go in it. The tires are bald. It's a right mess. They're probably paying over the odds.
Well, you know, the key is build the systems that the drivers are happy, because give the drivers the phone apps, give the drivers the ability to book, to order their cars themselves, but only in the parameters the business allows them to. So it takes all the workload off the business's desk. You report back on an overview of what they've got. Drivers are happier. I've got the right cars, and there aren't any bald tyres, there aren't any cracked windscreens, there aren't any wrong cars for the job, because they can only have what they need. And they've got telephone numbers to book in all their own stuff, and they're responsible for the vehicles they like and need. So suddenly your fleet comes up a level, you look better. If you have an accident, it's all dealt with, including the person you've had the accident with. and it's basically you focus on the core activity, and that can be done all within the same price as the vehicle, if you see what I mean. So it's no different to hiring the vehicle yourself, but you've now got an overview of everything, if you see what I mean. And it's so that's where we come in, and we tend not to lose business because there's not a lot of, certainly under the sub 70 vehicle fleet, there's not a lot of big companies helping people, and 70 vehicles, if they're 30 grand a time, is a lot of money. So someone should look after it.
It's £2 million worth of assets which need to be
exactly. It's important to someone.
You think is, you say it like that. I mean, I've worked in sales a long time. I've come across so many sales reps who, if I'm completely honest, they have no regard for anything but themselves. So they would treat the cars like, freight them, abuse them, misuse them, because it worked there. And I think putting that ownership back on the person who's driving it, okay, if the engine blows, you're responsible for that. If you haven't had it serviced and everything else, you're paying for it. That absolutely would focus people's minds, because I know in some of my wife's companies where they used to have vehicle inspections. So you went to head office, the CEO would come out, look around your car, so people realise, hey, at least for one day of the month, these cars have got to be clean.
This is the thing, but you can build that. If that service, if that clean is important to the business, put it into the rental, put it into the monthly payment, and it's and give them routes to getting it, because the driver's only got to press a button then, and he's booked it for the date he needs, and he's happy, everyone's happy, and it's not a stress to it. And it's little bits like that which sometimes get forgotten. Well, they often get forgotten. And
that's the added value, isn't it? That you
that's
it. Your big boys probably ain't even mentioning it because we ain't paying that for them. Your smaller guys like yourself, a bit more agile, most certainly can make sure that you cover a lot more of the bases rather than just the basic, oh, here's the car, pay us this every month and get on with it. And I think that personal concierge type business, let's be honest, it's what the world used to be like when we were younger. And guess what? Businesses seem to keep their customers. And we went to this model of just get them in, get their money and get them out. And what happened? A lot of companies started to struggle. So all power to your elbow, sir. I think one of the problems which will come for you if it happens, if you become too big, that's when you then can possibly lose sight of that personal touch. But I imagine because you already aware of it, you wouldn't allow it to happen anyway. So
the thing is, if it grows, we as a business, we've kind of made a decision to go after companies we want to, and also to keep automating, to keep it. There's me and Patrick O'Gorman who work in the business. If we can automate, we will. But it's got to come down to the essential fact that we are a consultancy. So it's so we can't. Unless we can expand without losing value. Your finance friend has to be the friend to the person who needs the finance, and it's within the whole ethos of it. So it's if we lose that, we're not. There's no point in the growth. It's at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle business if we can keep it to 2 people. So that's where we are anyway.
So what would you put your success down to? Is it luck, hard work, or something else?
There's a lot more to go before the success can be qualified, I think. But we're certainly not luck. Luck is hard work is all the way. You put your luck in line down the path you're walking, and you step onto everything till you get if you've got enough things lined up, you're a very lucky person. And it's hard work and knowing where you're going, and you can come off your path, but if you know where you're going, you can get back onto it.
As my friend Peter Williams often says, you make your own luck.
Yes,
And
I
absolutely
100%
hard
agree
work.
with that.
Poking the hornet's nest, eventually you're going to get stung by a few hornets. If you don't poke it, then guess what? Hey, you'll never know.
Yeah.
So,
well, do you know what I think in the matter of the last few years? Because obviously, I've totally changed outlook since I've been self-employed for definite, and I learnt more in the last couple of years than I've probably learnt in, believe it or not, 40 years. But,
you ain't that old. Karen.
Look at that.
He's already started. Look at that. I can land planes on mine. You can't land any planes on that, mate.
There's a strip going on, I've noticed. Right. Anyway, yes, there's definitely a learn gone on, and I think it's I think luck is built off what you know as well. To be fair,
yeah.
But yes, so good question.
Okay, so why did you set up your Bob clubs? Were you a member first?
Yes, and yes, I was a member of Starbridge Club for a very short period, but I've been in networking for years previously. Probably not doing it right, as Nigel alluded to in the first place. I was stepping in and out, not using it like a Yellow Pages in the early days. I was also not very successful, surprisingly, at the networking. I got enough to make it work, but I didn't understand it initially. And all in all, for at least the first year of doing networking properly, I've probably been doing it over a decade now, is I didn't even understand. People hadn't got a clue what asset finance meant on the whole. And it was that was a quick learn, was change the wording and put it in the behaviours that people ask for jobs, not how I want to be perceived.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's one of my biggest bugbears. I was at a networking meeting a couple of months ago, and I think there was an accountant there, and bless them, they're a lovely person, but they started speaking about accountancy, and I tell you what, how to make watching paint dry even more boring, and I don't think people get it. They think, oh well, if I say big long words and impress people with my thesaurus words, then they'll give me their money. But it's like, if people don't understand you, mate, they've got to close their ears and just wait for you to stop. And I think one of the key things, one of the best skills for any person who's selling or presenting themselves, is make it simple.
Yeah.
If that person on the other side looks at you and goes, I don't know what you're on about, you ain't going to sell that. You've got to make it simple.
You can't sell something that someone hasn't originated a need from. You can grow once they've got the need there. You can grow it to something.
Or you can establish that need.
Yeah, or you can you've got to establish, but they've got to find that initial bit, and then you establish. The worst salespeople, they bombard someone with something who hasn't even identified he wants it. If you know.
I had it yesterday on Instagram. Some bird. Hello. How are you? I'm from Florida, blah, blah, California, blah, blah. Where are you from? Birmingham, UK. Bam! I do Bitcoin. I sell Bitcoin. Blah, blah, blah. 10,000, 5,000. And I said to her, excuse me, can I ask you a question? She was like, yeah. I says, at what point did I say to you I was interested in investing in Bitcoin? I tell you what, I teach people how to sell without selling. How about I give you some of my advice instead? Surprised to say, she didn't send me another message after that. I don't know why.
Well, she also didn't originate the need.
But
you know what? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. She didn't ask me any questions at all. It was just like, hello, bam, bam, boom, bye. And I was like, something, leave me alone. I'm not interested.
And she'll be hitting that phone all day long, hitting her head.
Back time. I think that is how some people are doing. Something, if someone is resilient enough to send out 100 messages a day and to do that, fair play to them. I've got 10 million other things which are far more interesting to me.
It'll be the biggest, most energetic loss of time that they've ever experienced.
That's it.
But yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think the Bob Club side of it, because I better come back to the question from Karen, I guess. But it is I joined Starbridge Club for a while. I then moved to Droitwich from Birmingham, or from Solihull, and I basically asked Jeff Cox, who runs Bob Clubs International, what would it take to have a club in Droitwich? And he said, well, you need to start one. And I was like, okay. And because I didn't know a single person in Droitwich at the time, I thought there's a challenge. So I took him up on it on that conversation. And it probably took about 6 months for me to get started on it, because I was, it was a new world. So I started it to support my business. My business with Haydock at the time, in doing asset finance while running it, and it got up and running very, very quickly, because it was quite lucky. It was quite lucky. The area obviously needed a club, so got up and running. Then I started one in Redditch, and I started one in Worcester, then Pershall, then Malvern.
Oh, wow.
Then there's
are they all your clubs?
Yeah, there's 15 business network clubs now, which I run across Worcestershire, Gloucestershire, and I'm moving into South Birmingham regions now.
How the hell have you still got hair?
It's not much, but it's.
I mean, I ran 3-4N groups for much longer than I should have, and it became a pain purely because the people who I had one team who were fantastic, I had another team who were fantastic. Then we started to lose people, and it just became a burden. And it just felt like a right slug. And it's really strange because as soon as I left 4N, I started to make more money.
Yeah. Well, do you know the thing is, I think 4N it has some exceptional bits about it. So there's no negative.
Oh yeah, you ain't got to be nice.
No, I what I'd say is, you've got to the energy of keeping it maintained. In the early days, I wouldn't have been able to do more than 3 clubs. But what I had to do is get people mobilised in the other clubs, so that they saw the value. Yeah. Because once they saw the value, they would do it. Because I needed volunteers, and I needed volunteers who could get the added value out of it. So there's, and to be honest, what I need the next stage is another 9 clubs coming up in the next few months, and they are Cheltenham. I've got Birmingham East Side. I've got Birmingham Bourneville, and so on. They're all coming up. But the thing is, I can't be in every room, but I've got to make sure the culture of Bob Clubs is in every room. And so I'll probably be in the development rooms, and then I'll step out of the mature clubs. They're not very mature, some of them.
Well, you got to get a better standard of person coming there, mate. I think we're all throwing bloody eggs at each other. Hey!
Well, and you know what? We'll probably lose a few along the way. We'll lose a few clubs along the way, and we'll probably lose.
This will cause, this will
exactly. And I what we'll find is, and it's the same in any culture, any life, any situation. You'll have 70 to 80% of people who try really hard. You'll have 20% who get tired or couldn't do it in the first place. And you just got to keep up in the mix. And to be honest, it's an energy, but you've got to keep giving. And I would say what you probably experienced with the 4N is people weren't giving back, and you found other value, if you know what I mean. And it was it's.
lot of energy vampires, man. Now, to be fair, 4M was all right, but I do think there's a lot more take than give for it. I think it's it almost feels like, because obviously they have this mantra of 50% social, 50% business. I think the social aspect is leaned on too heavily. Yeah. As opposed to the business actor. So, I mean, I've run Karen's afternoon tea a few times. We have a bit of a different format when I run it, because I like to come and take over. But it always starts with the people in the room, the people on the call, and establishing what their issue is at this very moment in time. And let's address it. While we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 business owners on here, let's sort these problems out. And I get more value from that, and I've seen business owners get more value from it, because some of these people have been sat on some of these issues for like months, and they don't want to ask because they don't want to sound stupid. They don't know how to search on Google, even though Google's got all the answers. So to give them the opportunity to ask that question to other business owners and get some really brilliant responses back. I've seen people leave Karen's meeting that I've run skipping off into the sunset. Bring me sunshine all the while, honestly. So for me, networking, certain organisations have got it right. I think a lot of them haven't.
I agree. And do you know the thing? You'll know if you're in a good or bad room, if the people aren't giving to each other, and then the ones that, especially if it's a smaller club, if they start leaving one by one, they've got to remember, and they haven't got to remember because they won't because they're leaving, but they are part of that culture. And if it's not giving, it's their responsibility to fix that culture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's so if they're leaving, they obviously weren't right in the first place, if you see what I mean. So all in all, if you've got the right mindset, you bring the right people to the club.
Yeah.
You know you're all business leaders, and so there's people who can get value from those people that you've got. You've already got a collection of 10 people. You should 20 people, it'll be rocking. Get some more people in. You know, and get the right people. Don't go for anyone. It's the right people. You've got to be able to make business from them in 12 months. So, you know, so be selective, but select.
I am.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you can form it any way. You could have any, as long as it's doing the intent. If it's a business club, make sure you're getting business from it. If it's a social club, make sure you're getting the social you want from it. But clubs will form if people like each other.
I mean, you know, like I said, I mean, the social bit, I haven't got time. You know, I suppose it's that thing that, you know, I've already done 80-hour weeks. I worked at Yellow Pages for 6 years. You know,
I shouldn't have mentioned Yellow Pages earlier.
So, you know, I've already done the kind of 80-hour weeks and done all the slogger, and I think it's that thing that if some people just don't get it. So, but I won't be breaking my back to do any networking if I don't feel that I'm going to get value. It just, the thing is, I can achieve so much more, even though it's COVID, but I can achieve so much more sat on this laptop in terms of contact and communication. Not to say I won't do it again, but I think you know, in the future we'll see. I think I'm very selective about where I go to.
And Johnny, I would. Do you know what? I would love you in Bob Clubs. There's no doubt about it. And by the way,
I have passed your details on to two of my colleagues. I don't know if they've been in touch. One of them's back on furlough, so that's why you might not have been in touch.
But the thing is, you've got to be ready to do it because you've got to give 100%. You can't be lukewarm in networking anywhere. That's just not given.
You can't be lukewarm.
Exactly. You shouldn't be lukewarm in any part of your life. That's my honest opinion, but it's.
No, it's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. It comes across if you are. It's like no one's going to want to engage with you if you can't even bother to engage with yourself. It's like
exactly. So be certain if you want to do it. If you're not ready, you're not ready. That's my opinion on it.
With COVID, I mean, there's been quite a few free ones which I've kind of jumped on and we'll have some of that, and they've been very good to be fair. But I think post COVID, I'll be very, very laser focused. About what I look at and what I do. But
do you know what? That's the time to do it because there's a lot of people sleeping at the moment. So it's.
What's this COVID thing all about? I can't open my shop. Oh bloody hell! How are we going to cope? So what have you been doing about it, George? Well, I'm just going to wait to see if it passes. Do you manage to get your website done? Yeah, I don't believe in that internet stuff.
It's amazing how many times that's met.
That's it.
Yeah,
I guarantee you on Black Friday, some business owners are going to wake up and go, oh, I knew we should have got that website built.
Yeah.
And they've been thinking about it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Honestly, some people will be left behind after this is all finished.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we've got 5G coming, another evolution of technology. People forget what happened when we went from 3G to 4G. People don't remember we didn't have all these sexy apps on the phone. We didn't have 12 megabyte pixel cameras and digital. This is going to completely double. It's going to change, but people are like, oh, well, just don't get it. Honestly, the future is bright. The future is orange.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And it should always, but do you know what? You adapt to your world as well. So that's
exactly. I think that's it. You've got to adapt.
Yeah.
And that is where the dinosaurs died out because they didn't adapt.
Yeah. Exactly. And
are we going to be dinosaurs and not adapt to the environment?
Well, I've been hanging around on the internet like a bad smell for years. So nothing changes for me. Well, the thing is, I mean, and this is one of the reasons I do what I do. When I worked at Yellow Pages, even before I worked at Yellow Pages, you know, I go see business owners and it'd be the same old things that they weren't doing. Oh, where do you advertise, Mr. Customer? I'm in the newspaper, I'm in flyers, I'm in the local parish magazine, I'm in Yellow Pages, I'm in BT Phone Book, I'm in Thompson's Local. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Which one generates the most inquiries for you? I don't know. Oh, okay then. Let's go through your spend. How much are you spending with all these people? Oh, £500 every week. Before you knew it, these guys who had no money when you turned up saying they're going to cancel their advert were spending 10 grand a year, but didn't actually know what was working.
Yeah, exactly.
For the sake of putting a code in a box, or for the sake of when someone phones saying, hey, thanks for the business, where did you find out about us? The thing that annoyed me about it, though, is because they didn't even give me the opportunity to save them money. Because I'll tell you for now, if they could have proven to me that Yellow Pages had got them nothing, I'd have told them to cancel their bloody advert.
Yeah.
I would have. If my old boss is listening now, good. Yeah, I would have. I don't care what you say. I would have told them to cancel their advert there and then. In fact, when I worked at Yale, I spent more time talking to people about Google than I did about Yale.
Yeah.
Because Google was, well, why would you go onto Yale.com anyway? I mean, I don't go onto Yale.com and then search for something. I go onto Google and just search there. It's like, oh.
I know it's a long time back now, but I don't remember the last time I went on Yale, if I'm honest.
Exactly. And they've even got an app when I put on your phone. And then I'm going to go to Yale to do a search for the guy down the road when I could have gone to Google and just typed his company name in. It's like, come on. But but they're doing the same things. Business owners are doing the same things. Their behaviour is the same. Not all of them, but lazy. Oh, it's too much like hard work. It's the first sign of something that they don't understand. They don't want to do it. So then when you come along and say, hey, you should do it. Oh, try that. It doesn't work. Did you? Well, it looked complicated. Well, did you press any buttons? Well, I didn't want to break anything. Mate, you can't break software that's online. Well, unless your name's Karen Baum. That's another story for another day.
I won't ask.
Honestly, they're just doing the same things. Their marketing is not joined up. Their message is not joined up.
You know what? They could have been another Google if they'd actually set themselves up right with these starting.
Do you know,
Yep.
John? I remember the meeting well. We had a meeting with John Condon, or Condron, his name was. What we called him, Condon. And he went, little short man, about 2'4".
Yeah.
Google, it'll never catch on. That's what he said to a room of sales reps. It'll never catch on. Yeah, we're going to grow. We're going to do all these wonderful things. Within 9 months, he took £1 million out of the company and took early retirement because Yale started hemorrhaging. Because the recession hit, Yale started hemorrhaging, and it made him look like a complete and utter idiot. Google did come on. It's completely smashed.
It's done all right, hasn't it? It's done all right.
Google has changed. Google, if you think about it, Google got rid of 3 huge businesses. BT Phone Book, Thompson's Local, Yellow Pages. Those 3 books alone, I'll tell you now, would have generated probably anywhere in the region of £500,000, 300 million to 500 million pounds a year in advertising revenue.
Yeah,
that money went disappeared, and that's why it's so hard now for business owners, because they're so. In the old days, before your time, because you're only a young fella, BT Phone Book, Thompson's Phone Book, Yellow Pages, newspapers, local parish mag. Now we could probably do a search on Google and find 10,000 places that you can advertise your business. But which one's the best? But that's one of the reasons why Yale is still around now, because people are still trading off that, Yale, it'll be all right on Yale. What they don't realise, because they don't track what comes through it, is that it's probably a waste of bloody money.
Yeah.
And if you are listening, old boss, I don't care. Company's rubbish. Yale is rubbish.
No, that's good feedback, just in case I went that way.
Mate, don't do it. The only thing to have off them is a free listing to get a backlink for your website, and that's it.
Yeah.
Back to asking you another question.
Sorry, Karen. I'm going to go in a bit anyway. So
it's good to see you. Yeah, go on, Karen.
How important would you say it is to join Bob Club for people's business?
Depends on where they are, is what I would say. But if you want to find real connections with local people who are willing to work with you, you've got a room of 30 people who will recommend you, will help you up to the next level, which will support you, and they are your local eyes and ears and Salesforce. If that's what you want, then it's vital. If I'm honest, if you're at the stage where you've got the business you want, and you don't want to be looking for, you don't want to get up early in the morning, and it will push the boundaries of what you know. It will make you tired at times. It's hard work at times. You've got to keep resolving all your relationships. But with it, the whole world opens up because you get to know things that other people know. If you've got to get to stage B, someone will help you up to stage B. And it's, and so to be honest, it's how much you're willing to put in is how much you get out. So I would say if you're willing to put in 100%, you'll get more than 100%. If you know what I mean. And that's the answer, I would say. A little bit vague, but I'd say that's it.
Yeah. And that's one of the benefits of being a member of a group.
Yeah.
Is you get that you're basically sales team and you're their sales team, because you can see things that you sort of think, oh, I know somebody who does that.
But you know what? You probably expect to get your products from. You go into a group with your products and services. They're the best in the world, or at least you should believe that. You're finding a new marketplace, so you expect to be able to sell it in there. So I'm going to take that as a given that you'll find some of that in any networking room. What you actually get as well is a environment where you get to meet new people, and they're the soft benefit is, to me, is more important than I've got to be careful because your finance friend operates entirely in networking rooms, so it's essential it gets its business. But I am a different person since doing networking because I've learnt so many new things. I've been hypnotized by Karen. I've been, I've had aromatherapies. And I know these are all the little things, but I've also learned how to do accounts. I've learned today how to set up a business, how to do strategic alliances, how to do, and I've learned how to prioritize. And these are things which you probably think but actually you now have routines and systems you can do, so you can actually upscale your business, and you can go into next level. Because if you jump off a wall which is 3 bricks high, you'll probably land okay. If you're trying to jump off a 50-foot wall, you've got to prepare. So it's about learning how to get your scale right when you and you've got the people around who can help you basically. And it's so that's what I probably expanded that too far ago. I do like my fingers today. I don't know what's going on.
And if somebody was thinking about coming along to Bob Club and they heard that it was expensive, is it expensive compared to the other networks out there?
Karen, don't swear online. You can't mention it.
Yes. Well, the answer is it is expensive. It's £390 for your first year.
God,
so it's half the price of our biggest competitor, which I will not mention. But it starts with a B, ends with an I, and which is also a valuable organisation. But what it does is it's a lot more relaxed.
Is that Britain's naughty influencers?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. But what you get is the value, and you will get, if you've got a real good product, how many times you have to sell it to get that back? You're in the room with a year with some quality businesses. Yeah. You're selling to their phone books. So actually, how many people does everyone know?
I will be honest. I did change my perception of Britain's noisy influencers. But it depends as to where you go and who's in that room, which I think invariably is the same for a lot of things, isn't it?
There's good and bad rooms there's good and bad clubs in every organisation. You've got tired clubs in Bob clubs which need fixing. You've got tired clubs in B&I.
Send Karen in, she'll bloody fix them.
She would fix them, yeah, absolutely. And if they want to be fixed, that's the thing.
They'll have no choice if Karen's going in. It's like, excuse me, you think I'm asking you to do this? Well,
you've got when you go to one of those naughty clubs as you mentioned. Do you fit is it what you want? Is it your culture? You're not fitting their culture. Are they the type of people you want to work with? That's the key. And it's if they've got sticks up their arses, which I probably shouldn't say. So is it the right environment for you? Because they're not going to change because they want you to adapt. If you know what I mean. And you're paying a membership to be part of a club, so you need to get the value from it. When they say give us gain, is the club giving back to you? Because yes, that's not selfish. That is, you're paying your value in. So the club's getting value. So transaction, is it there? Because there's a lot of organisations that use things like givers gain and being giving to the club. But you're a new person in a new network. You've admitted you've got no network because you're joined a network to grow your network. It takes time to build it. Don't put the pressure on. Don't make it hard for them. Help them grow, and they'll become an exceptional person. And help them shine rather than panic them and stress them. And it's so if you're feeling all of that, you're in the wrong place.
So, how many branches of Bob Club have we got? And is it international or just in the UK?
Right, it's all over the globe. America, India, Pakistan. I believe they're in Lithuania. I'm trying to start a club in Gibraltar. So they're literally everywhere. Now, but UK is the biggest area. There's over 100 in the UK. I've got a mere 15 of them.
Can you go to any one of them if you're a member, or can you only go to the one?
Within reason, you've got to check whether they've got one of you in there already. So because they're exclusive seats.
Yeah.
It's by permission of each club because they're all independent of each other. So there's no real reason why they wouldn't want to meet you. But the only thing the caveat is don't overstay a different club because they want members. And so if you're visiting them, they're presuming you are thinking about joining them. So go and meet them. They'll love to meet you. They want fresh people to meet, and they want fresh people. But they'll love to meet you, and they'll want to get to know you, and they'll try and work out solutions to work with you. And but what they really will be waiting for is for you to join. And if there's big opportunities, they'll probably hold on to them a little bit longer to see if you are becoming a member with them, because it's a farming community, not a hunting community.
I mean, I suppose this is one of the things which I do kind of struggle with, because I pass referrals whether I'm in a club or not.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last, I won't name names, but I've passed some bloody good business over COVID.
Yeah.
With no, not wanting anything in return. But I just do that naturally. And I suppose it's that thing, if I don't need to be a part of any, I know that many people anyway, my network's bloody huge. I have pretty much got a man or woman for every situation. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose if I went networking again, I'd have to really kind of evaluate what I actually want from it.
Could I answer? It's a little bit of devil's advocate to that. I hope you don't mind. But when certainly in a Bob club, I think it's different in other clubs where there's targets. But in a Bob club, you do not have to use a single member in that room. You're going there.
I think though, if I was part of something like that, I think I'd want to.
You want, but their job is every 2 weeks to prove to you they are credible and good at what they do. So. You're giving a little bit of your reputation when you give them a referral.
Oh, absolutely. Good.
Yeah, so they get one chance with it sometimes. So let them exactly. Well, if they hang them, so obviously you never do them again. But they don't automatically get the business because everyone will already have their contacts. If you're a reasonably set up business, you'll have contacts in most things. So for them to win it over. They shouldn't. I don't think they should automatically get your business.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a bad experience recently with. I won't even mention the name in case he's listening, but bloody awful, absolutely awful.
I'm sorry, I tried.
I passed his details on to somebody, and farcical, absolutely farcical, to the point that I'm not even sure I'd speak to him again if I saw him. But hey, it's another story for another day. Right, guys, I'm going to have to shoot because I'm on a crazy timeline today, and I've still got to get quite a bit done. Rich, we will have to try and catch up.
We will certainly.
My capacity and diary has gone nuts. Stupidly, I volunteered for some mentorship work with a couple of the training academies in Sandwell, and they decided they wanted to use me. So. Unfortunately, because it's not planned, it's very much ad hoc. Oh, we're going to need you next Monday or Wednesday. And it's like, So,
no, you say.
For how long I do, I don't know. But for now, because I've said yes, I think I will. But we'll definitely try and touch base.
We will meet again. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, if we don't touch base, I mean, I know there's not much. There's only 4 weeks of the year left. Unlikely it'll be this year, but let's definitely get something in early Jan, if not. We'll
100%. No, it's been. Thank you, Nigel. It's been good to meet you, mate.
Good to meet you as well. Karen speaks so highly of you. I thought I better check out this guy, man. He's competition.
We're not. That's another thing. Networking, no competition. We
taking my Karen away from me. He's like, honestly, mate. Next time I'm going to record and I'm going to send it to you. You'll be blushing. You'll be like, oh my god. Very highly. No, that's good. That's positive, because for Karen to speak highly of somebody means that they have attained a level in her mind, which to me is like, well, if she says you're all right, then you're all right by me, mate.
I'll second that. Thank you. Not for myself.
Guys, have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll catch you before, and I'll probably speak to you before the end of the week anyway, Karen. And Richard, we'll catch up again soon.
Been a pleasure. So see you shortly, mate.
Take care. Bye, Dad. Bye.
Bye, Nigel. Right.
So, my last question to you is, if you had to live your life again, would you change anything?
Would I change anything? Okay. Let me have. Do you know what? Openly, I've never had that kind of thought process where you change. You go on a path. I've never been. I try and never be, although it's probably hard in some cases. I try and never be jealous of people. I try and always look on, because people have either done well or haven't, or they've done well in their situation, or they. So I would, all in all, I've got to this stage, and this stage is allowing me to get to the next stage. If that makes so, you can only know what you know at any point. So I probably couldn't do what I'm doing now 10 years ago. If that makes sense. So everything I've learned is the summation of what I'm doing now. So I honestly don't know. There's a few things which went wrong in the past. There's a few things which you could try and fix some family things that have changed or things like that. But I don't know is the honest answer. I would live my life now. I always try to live it now and look to the future. To be honest. So you can't change the past. You can change the direction of the future. So,
True.
That would be my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me for afternoon tea today.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. So thank you for that. So I better run off then.